regulations positive or negative for the space? Blake Harris, take this one first. Just positive or negative? What do you think?
Sure. So it could cut both ways. There's good regulation and there's bad regulation. As we recently saw with the infrastructure bill, there's some potentially bad legislation coming through, which was going to treat miners and validators as a broker dealer, and that was going to really hurt the space a lot. On the other hand, if we can put forth regulation which stops the pump and dump schemes and gain investor confidence in it, the crypto regulation could be very good for the space. So it's very broad to say whether regulation is good or bad in crypto or in anything for that matter. If it's good regulation coming down the pipeline, it's going to be very good for the industry. If it's bad regulation, I'm not going to say it could kill the industry, but it could definitely set it back very significantly.
Yeah, I definitely echo that. As it relates to, there is two sides to this, right? And we'll get into this a little bit further in a minute here. But the two sides to it are that, hey, this could go really well, or this could go really bad, right? There's definitely options on both sides of that. The good side of this says, hey, regulations are in effect, and they actually give us something they give us a landscape to actually work off of. Whereas the other side of it, the bad would be, hey, you know what? They just make this as difficult as possible on every single person. When in the end of the day, like it's all about one thing. It's about, taxes and money anyway. So yeah, I think overall it'll be good if it's directed the right way.
Yeah, I completely agree. Anything can be good or bad, right? There's plenty of good crypto projects out there, and there's plenty of bad crypto projects out there. And it's like that in every industry, not just crypto alone. So there's always a good and bad. And that's kind of the purpose of this show, right? To debate the good and the bad of everything in crypto. So Blake, so I'm going to ask you, what would be a positive regulation that could be coming out in the near future that you could see happening and the effect it could have on the space?
Sure. So I think the most important thing when it comes to regulating any type of investment, I'll consider crypto an investment for the purpose of this conversation, is disclosure. We don't want people out there pumping coins and not disclosing that they've been paid to pump up a coin. I think that it's important that investors know two things. One is to do your own research and a general mentality of don't trust anyone. And I think that would be the best thing the SEC could do. Simply say, we're not going to try to pick the winners and the losers. We're not going to stamp that this is a good investment and that this is a bad investment, but simply say that we're going to allow the crypto world to exist, but you should approach it with a heavy level of skepticism. And I think that the investor just knowing that the government's not going to give the stamp of approval, but they're also not going to prevent people from doing it, and that people should do their own research. People should do their own research. People should read white papers themselves. And again, people should not be out there pushing any cryptos and not disclosing it, and not being honest about their motives. If we can remove the fraud from the industry, then that would be a good move. That would be a move in the right direction for the crypto markets.
So I totally agree with part of that. I guess part of my question is, why should the SEC be in charge of this? I view crypto as more of a commodity for as it relates right now. So my question becomes, why does the SEC have to be involved? Why do they have to dig in to get their say and basically try to push us around? I think that the fraud, yeah, no doubt, fraud is a problem, but fraud's a problem everywhere, right? And so I don't know, under the guise of, hey, we're here to protect you, they are going to put together these regulations, these rules. I just don't buy into the fact that they're actually trying to protect anyone. Let's be real. You can go to the stock market right now and get your ass handed to you, right? Trading options, for example. People that know nothing about options trading. I used to be one of them, right? Jumping in and basically just all out gambling. I don't know. I just have a hard time with them needing to get their say in what we can and can't do, because the facts are exactly like you said, Blake. Do your own research. How is that ever any different from anywhere else? I guess is more what I mean. Everyone has to understand, hey, you're putting your money in here, you better do your daggone research. So I just hate the fact that they always have to get their dirty little paws in on the conversation.
And I agree. I agree with you. I think it would be best if the SEC stepped back and basically said, we're not going to get ourselves involved in this. We're not giving our blessings. We're not going to be putting it down. But I think it's inevitable that they are going to be involved in regulating crypto. There's just too much money for them not to deem it a security and thus get involved. And I think that if they can do it with a smart approach, it could be good it could be okay for the investors, and it could be good for the SEC's motives, which is more power the way that most government organizations work.
So let me say this. So here's why I think that this could be a really good thing. I think that, okay, I own a construction company. And if I had no Ohio revised code to go off of, no building code to actually work off of, yet I was still going to be held responsible, held liable for any work that we had done, but didn't have a groundwork to look at, didn't have a set of standards to go off of, that's freaking scary. And guess what it would do? It would make me second guess every single time we stepped on a job site. So from a positive side of things, I think if we can have that groundwork laid out and sitting there in front of us and say, okay, this is X, this is Y, and there's no just big gray area in between, I think that it would be positive for the big hitters to more come in, like, you know, somebody like, let's just say Apple. It's just, I'm on an Apple computer, so I'm thinking about that. For them to step in and say, okay, we know what the rules are. We know where this stands. Now we're ready to jump in. And I think a lot of people are a little bit too unsure to do that. So that's kind of where I'm standing on that.
Getting the big hitters into the market and getting the baby boomers comfortable with it as well. Millennials we've flocked into crypto, but if we can get the baby boomers into it, that's really going to be the bridge to the next stage where we finally start to see fiat currency disappear quickly, and we see a lot of businesses turning to accept crypto. So getting their confidence is going to be important. And also, I think generally a change in people's mentality from government approved, the FDA approves crypto, let's say, to this idea that we don't necessarily rely on the government for approval would be a very helpful change. And I realize that's not a government regulation issue, it's more of a mentality issue. But the more the government is regulating, the more it's giving this illusion that a stamp of approval from the government means something is safe. And if we could get more to the government saying, we're not going to get involved, it's on your own to do the research, I think that would be the smoothest way forward.